please have a roll call?
Councilmember Guimede,
Here.
Councilmember Garcia,
Here.
Councilmember Ribur,
Here.
Vice Mayor Lainez,
Here.
and Mayor Altamirano.
Here. Pledge allegiance it'll be Parks and Recreation Director Ella Means, and invocation by Councilmember Garcia.
Good evening, council. Please stand. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice for all.
Let us take a moment to pause and reflect as we gather tonight to serve the City of Commerce. May we be guided by the wisdom, fairness, and respect. Help us work together with clear minds and open hearts, always keeping the best interests of our community in mind. May our decisions reflect integrity and may we lead with humility and dedication to those we represent. Thank you for the opportunity to serve.
We'll go ahead and open up public comment. Is there any public comments? There's no public comment. We'll go ahead and close public comment. And we'll move on to consent calendar. And on consent calendar, we have items 1 through 6. Consent calendar, we have items 1 through 6. Is there a motion?
Mayor, I would like to pull item number 6.
We'll pull number 6. So is there a motion to approve 1 through 5? There's
I'll
a
second.
A motion, there's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes. We'll move on to item number 6. Who is here that can present or answer questions from Mayor Pro Tem?
Vice Mayor, would you like a presentation or would you like a specific question?
If you can just give us maybe a brief overview on what this is exactly, just in the interest of the public information.
Okay, Mr. Dumick will give you a brief presentation.
Item 6.
So, good evening, Honorable Mayor, council members. This item before you is a cooperative agreement that each of what is considered right now the Washington Boulevard Coalition. And the agreement is between each of those cities that fall under the Washington Boulevard extension. So this item actually goes back about 15 years, right? I've been part of the committee for probably about 2.5 years now. For the people at home, we're looking at the extension of the Metro E line, which would take you from the current terminus, which is at Pomona and Atlantic. It would then come down through unincorporated. The current concept is it would go underground entirely, right, within the city of Commerce boundary, come down Atlantic, up through Washington. We would have a station at the Citadel outlets, and then it would stay subgrade until it got to the Montebello border, and then would go above grade all the way through its terminus, which is projected out in the city of Whittier. So we have been asked to engage in this cooperative agreement with Metro. There's the footnote. This cooperative agreement, it may not stand only because I found out just recently that the Gateway Cities, COG, has been in dialogue with Metro and the cities to formulate a TAC, right, Technology Advisory Committee, which would, I think, commence sometime in April. So a representative from each of the cities will tackle ongoing issues after this cooperative agreement is finalized. So the intent of this particular agreement is to identify rights, right, and responsibilities of each of the local participant agencies and Metro in respect to design, construction, operation, and any reimbursements that would come to us, the cities, for participating in phase one, right, of the 2 phases. So that's where we currently stand. And just to give you a little bit more in context, the phase one, which goes predominantly through Montebello, that is not entirely funded. The primary reason I believe that you're going to see the TAC being formed is to be more of a strong presence in its relationship with not only the state but also the feds in obtaining the necessary funding. We're talking about billions of dollars to get us from where it currently is, like I said, Pomona and Atlantic, to get all the way to Whittier. What the desire is for the construction to begin in 2029, so we're about 4 years away. And then there's a couple other items, which is a 3% or an in-kind contribution from the cities. Ours, relative to the cities on the Washington Boulevard, is substantially less than what I originally thought, because LA County Board of Supervisors put in a resolution, or adopted a resolution not too long ago, to either be 3% or no more than what our contribution that we receive from the county, which will turn out to be maybe about $7 to $10 million in the long run. Now, with that said, and I might be getting a little bit too long-winded, why I mention the in-kind is because with the underground that's projected to take place all the way through the city of Commerce, there will be some utilities, right, that will have to be augmented. Through that process, then we can use the funds that are being allocated towards all those utility movements towards our in-kind. So realistically, that $10 million could end up being nothing, depending on the cost, right? So I hope that gives you a little bit of a perspective on, what the current status is, and looking forward to this TAC and where it takes us.
Thank you, Assistant City Manager. Really appreciate it. And kind of like the tail end of your explanation was what I was trying to tie into. So I know local jurisdictions have to contribute 3%, right, of the project cost, and like you said, for us would probably be about 7 to 10 million, just given where we're at. And the benefit that we have, so it's good that we're going to look at improving our infrastructure and moving utilities and just doing whatever we can without coming out of our general fund to fund this, right? Some other things that I think would be worthwhile to look at are just first last mile investments. So one of the benefits of our city is that we have our own transportation department, right? So maybe there's opportunity there to do like bus stop enhancements, right? Or even micro mobility hubs like scooter docks and bike shares, just because I think those projects can potentially go into that 3%. I think they would qualify for that.
Yeah,
as
you're
well.
correct. We actually sat down with Metro representatives, it's got to be more than 5-6 months ago, to discuss that very thing, right? First last mile. The unfortunate part, what they put on the table was bike lanes and or walking, right? Sidewalk lanes. And one of the particular thoroughfares that they were focused on was Smithway, right? And putting a bike lane along Smithway. And I don't think that we can do that, considering the amount of truck traffic that exists on there, the lack of parking, and plus looking at the expansion that's going to be taking place at the Citadel, what impact that'll have on that particular proposal.
I agree.
Right, so I think that one's off the table. We broached the possibility of doing a bridge across the I-5, and that was pretty much shot down.
Which used to exist here in the city, right? And got taken away. Okay.
The other one was a walk path down, I believe it was Goodrich, coming into the Mixmaster, and then cutting across up the pathway along Telegraph. The hardship with that is having to expand right? The walkway to include both walking path and a bike lane. So, I mean, there are a few options that are still out there. We're not discounting anything, and it's going to be part of this process that we're going to research and hopefully analyze.
Yeah, and listen, the landscape may look different closer to the date, right? Right now, it's 2029 before they break ground, and we don't know if that's going to be delayed. It looks like it may, but we'll see, right?
Correct.
So so it's good that you're looking at that, and I think that was the spirit of why I wanted to pull this item. I just wanted to make sure that we were exploring all the avenues that we could, as opposed to just dipping from our general fund to fund this
Oh, absolutely.
3%. The other thing also to keep in mind is I'd like us to really look at the Transit-Oriented Development Plan, or the TOD plan that was developed by Climate Resolve and Estelano Advisors, just because I think they're in draft phase right now, right? But that'll be finalized pretty soon. And I've looked at the draft, and there are some infrastructure recommendations, and there may be some things in there that could lend itself to not only improving our streets, right, but also, counting towards that 3%. So it could be a win-win, right? So just things that I want to make sure that we're looking at just to maximize our opportunity here.
I totally agree.
So if I may add, Mayor, members of City Council, as both the Vice Mayor and the Assistant City Manager alluded to, the options on transportation are kind of really up in the air. Nothing solidified. What is key to understand, though, is that some connectivity option needs to be selected, or the funding will not be available to the city, even, the bigger portion. The good news is that, the rest of the region shares the concerns that the Vice Mayor expressed with regards to 3%, and things like in-kind contributions, for lack of a better word, will count. So, for example, expenditures that the city already makes for our transportation department, some of those, they're saying would count. They haven't defined how and why, but I think they understand that a lot of cities will have significant grievances with regards to ponying up 3% of a project that, and I think our argument from the city's perspective was, immediately impacted cities will have to pony up the monies, but the entire region benefits. So where's their contribution to this project, right? And so there's not necessarily an equity issue, it's not an equity kind of the way they're looking at it. So it certainly needs to be discussed further, but what they have committed to already saying, they just didn't describe the how, is that the 3% can be met in a variety of different ways,
Yep.
right? Which I think is more fair, but I can tell you that from the city's perspective, and it's shared amongst the region, is that why are us cities touching this project having to pony up the entire burden, or our portion of the burden, for the entire region, because everybody's going to benefit from this transportation mode. So.
Yeah, thank you for that, Mr. City Manager. And to be clear, with this item tonight, if it goes through, there's no fiscal impact. All we're doing is approving the entering into that cooperative agreement, where we would enter into negotiations on how we're going to, address that 3% and some of the rights that you were talking about.
That's correct.
Okay. So those are my questions. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just have a follow-up. Just wanted to follow up, Philco, in your comments here, you mentioned that we're going underground. Obviously, I know about the city going underground, but it's my understanding, unless it's changed, that it was going to be underground from Pomona all the way down to through the city. Did that change?
Yeah, no, I think unless I misspoke,
Okay,
soon,
no,
soon thereafter that goes underground, and it doesn't appear above grade until it gets.
Okay, I know there was a lot of problems with the 3rd Street over there. And as a result of that, that's where that discussion began, that, it's going to go underground. So I just wasn't sure if that had changed or not.
No, it hasn't.
Okay. All right. And the other part is that we recently had a presentation here at the Senior Center. My colleague, our Vice Mayor, was present, and I was there. And in that conversation, they mentioned the funding, and it's subject to federal funding. And of course, with the changes that we've had up at the federal level, we have to basically apply for the additional funding. I believe they mentioned that they had in excess of $2 billion. So they've got startup money to begin the work, but they didn't have the full amount of money, and they're anticipated, I believe the cost was in excess of $6 billion. So now with the changes, one of the questions that was raised at the meeting was, hey, with the recent changes, where are we going to be in line in terms of additional funding? You know, are we, you know, it doesn't seem to me that us, meaning California, are going to be at the top of the list. So there wasn't no direct answer, but, you know, I would anticipate that more than likely, you know, it's going to be tough for us to get the additional funding. So anyways, that was a question that that I raised. I wanted to try to get an answer to that, see where we were, but we didn't get a direct answer. So there is a lot of things that are a little bit, you know, we're not sure of, but they did mention that they were comfortable that they had in excess of $2 billion, and one of it was due to Measure M, and there was another measure that we passed recently that there was some additional funding from there that was available as well for that.
Yeah, so currently, just to give you a little bit of context, right, the first phase of this project's about just under $8 billion.
$8 billion?
$8 billion.
Okay.
Metro staff has secured about 3.7 million of that. They are currently pursuing an additional 2.6 million through the FTA. You know, that doesn't mean that we're going to actually secure it. And then, of course, that leaves, you know, the funding for the rest of, right, through the terminus through City of Whittier. Just to give you some more context, the Measure M that you discussed or pointed out annually generates about $800 million, right? So that kind of gives you an idea about all the projects that are, you know, in line for that $800 million annual basis. I mean, that doesn't even come close to what they're looking for as a delta to complete the first phase of this project.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for that added information. But our 3%, whether, you know, we can write off some of it based on some of the, let's say, moving of utilities that you, as you described, that they would give us a credit for that sort of stuff. I mean, it's great, but to me, it's a worthwhile investment that we're making in the future of our city to get this metro link to come through the city of Commerce. I think it's a worthwhile investment that'll pay dividends for us down the road. So thank you. Thank you for pulling the item.
Thank you. Okay, yes, at this time, we're going to move item number 6 forward. Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve per the recommendation in the staff report.
Is there
I
a
would second that.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes. We'll move on to schedule matters, and we're going to go on to number 7, which is a presentation and update from the Sheriff's Department.
Good evening, Council. Sergeant Jimenez with your public safety briefing for the dates of February 11th to the 24th. Next slide. Okay, first slide is going to be your Part 1 crimes, which are the following. Robbery, we're going to have a total of 2. Assault, we're going to have 3. Burglary, we're going to have 2. Grand theft, total of 12. Grand theft vehicle, it's going to be 13. Assault that's not aggravated, it's going to be 4. Felony vandalism, which is $400 or more, it's going to be 4. Vandalism, $400 or less misdemeanor. I'm sorry, $400 or less misdemeanor section, it's going to be 3. You're going to have 5 incidents of vehicle burglary and 11 petty thefts are reported. No arson to report. Next slide. And just to put a little in comparison to the other cities, Commerce, again, is going to have 3 assaults compared to Cudahy, who also had 3. Maywood had 1. East LA, which is obviously a bigger RD foreign district, they had 17 assaults. Robbery, again, we had 2. None to report from Cudahy or Maywood. East LA had 4. For burglary, we had 7, compared to Cudahy and Maywood, who had 4 each. East LA had 10. And auto thefts, 13, compared to Cudahy, who had 4, Maywood had 6, and East LA had 32. Next slide. Your arrest statistics for this time period is going to be 11 felony arrests, along with 14 misdemeanor arrests, Next slide. And the activities with the SAO deputies. February 8th, deputies provided security at the Citadel for a signing event with the Dodgers pitcher Anthony Banda. February 19th, deputies participated in the yearly homeless count. February 22nd, deputies participated with the City of Commerce birthday celebration and snow day at the Transit Center. And for the entire month of February, deputies have been conducting the saturation patrols of the Commerce Center, Bristol Park, and Bandini area. Next slide. This is going to be some pictures of the celebration. And the next one is going to be the SAO deputies providing security for Anthony Banda. Any questions?
Any questions from City Council?
I do have some follow-ups, not related to the reporting, but we did have an issue that I called on. We had an individual in our city that I guess was bitten by a dog, and I had requested that we get somebody out there. I just wanted to get an update on that. I don't have an update, and it's my understanding that they did call the sheriff's department and they didn't respond. So I'd like to get that investigated, and I'd like to follow up to see what happened.
I'm sorry, Councilman, you said on what day, or do you?
You know what, Vilco?
We can provide the details, Councilmember Argumedo.
Yeah, if you don't mind, we'll get all that information to you, but I would like a follow-up on that because it's my understanding that they didn't respond. So I'd like to know what happened with that. And part of it is that the situation could have been much worse. The individual sustained, he was bitten, and thanks to his efforts, he was able to, it was a pit bull also, and he was able to kick him to the point where he released his arm. But if it had been an older person, had it been a child, it would have been a much different story. So I definitely want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to hold that owner of that dog responsible for that. And it seems to me that if the dog has bitten somebody, it should be, already should be in one of the shelters already, because he's a danger to pedestrians, basically.
Yeah, that should be the normal process.
So I just want to follow up on that, and I want to make sure we contact the individual and just provide him with an update and status with regards to that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And thank you for the great job you guys are doing out there. Appreciate all the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the walkthrough, Sergeant Jimenez. Just a couple of questions. I know there's some suppression efforts that are going on in a few different areas here in the city, and some camera trailers have been deployed, and so I don't really have any specific questions about that, but I think what would be good to know is, if we can somehow quantify how successful these trailers are in suppressing things, right? Kind of looking at things before and then looking at things in that area, while they're out there. I think that would be valuable to know, to see if this is a worthwhile investment that we should continue to pursue.
Yes, sir. I'll get you that
Thank you.
report.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
I just wanted to thank you for addressing the concerns of the neighbors in the Bristol Park community that you took care of. I know they were really grateful that you took time out of your day to go meet with them and to let them know that you were new in the city, tell them a little bit about yourself, and just really addressing the concerns that that community had. So thank you again for doing that.
You're very
That was it.
welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Sarge, and thank you for setting up that meeting with the other deputies that we had to inform us on and update us on what was going on. And I did mention that day to our city manager, in the past we had a meet and greet, and we were able to meet the sheriffs, the deputies that were working in Commerce, and we had like a little luncheon and stuff. And I'd like to create that as well. So to our city manager, if he can schedule that with our sergeant and with city council, I think that'll be great.
That'd be awesome,
Okay?
sir.
All right, thank you for the good job you guys do, and be safe out there.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, so then we'll be moving on to item number 8, which is a public hearing. And to our city clerk, do I need to open up the public?
Yes, we
hearing
can
first?
open the public hearing. I didn't receive the cards, but we can.
Okay, I'm
announce.
going to open up the public hearing. And hearing that there's none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. And we're going to number 8, so
Yes, so that was number 8.
Okay.
This is the annual item, and the Department of Los Angeles County Agricultural Commission actually go to the city and identify those properties that have nuisances. Mostly it's like weeds, overgrown weeds, and the notices are later sent to those property owners. This is actually a public hearing for them to contest those notices, and since nobody talked at this item, they will be given like a little bit more time to abate those nuisances, and recommendation is to approve the abatement order.
thank you. Any questions? So item number 8 then is for approval. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none. Motion passes. We'll go ahead and move on to city council reports. Councilwoman Reboya, do you have any reports?
Right. Sure. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to thank Parks and Recreation for the wonderful event of Snow Day. I was able to attend. It was really hot. It was a beautiful hot day to play in the snow. But it was just really nice to see the community come out, and just really nice to see this event come back. Anytime we're able to bring back the family events that we've had in the past, it always makes my heart smile. So thank you to the community that came out to enjoy Snow Day. Thank you to all the staff from Parks and Rec, Public Works. Our media specialist was there capturing wonderful moments for the community. Everybody that it took to put that event together. You guys did an amazing job. So thank you. I would like to congratulate Downey High School water polo, women's water polo. I was able to attend their CIF final game. Unfortunately, not the outcome that we wanted, but they're actually in San Diego tonight playing for the first round of state. So good luck. We have a lot of our girls water polo players on the team here from Commerce. So good luck to Coach Uriel Villa and to the Downey women's water polo who are playing in San Diego tonight. And I kind of toyed with the idea of maybe missing the council meeting to go watch them, but duty calls, so here I am. Lastly, thank you to the library. I was able to attend, I believe it was like the African Drum Circle here at the Senior Center. And it's just really awesome to see, again, like I know I say it all the time, but how we've evolved as a library and just the experiences that we're providing for our community. It was nice to see diversity in ages at the show, from families with little babies to seniors to young adults in there, and just really enjoying something that I don't think we would otherwise enjoy. Like, I would never think to go somewhere to listen to an African drum circle, and it was beautiful. And just to learn the culture of like the drums and why they play a certain way and the way they dance and the things that so it was just really amazing. So I'm really looking forward to what you're going to bring in the summer as it relates to the fine arts. So yeah, thank you for that. And I think that's it with that. Thank you to the community that's here. Thank you to everybody that's listening at home. Continue to look at our social media so that you don't miss any of our wonderful events that we are having to celebrate the city birthday. And also make sure you follow my social media page. I got some really cool city birthday swag that we designed that Team Reboyo is giving out. So make sure you follow me on social media, because we're going to be raffling out some really cool stuff that I was able to create with my team. So thank you again, and God bless everybody.
Thank you. Councilmember Argumedo?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I just want to follow up on the snow day. I want to thank everybody that made that possible. Obviously, I wasn't here. We were, me, Mayor, and Councilmember Garcia were at the ICA conference in Santa Barbara. Very nice conference. It was well attended, I think, by many of our neighboring cities. And, geez. Sorry about that. Anyways, I just want to thank you all because you continue with your creativity, Greg, especially you and your entire staff. I noticed you guys use the transportation department, use that natural ramp that we have going up to the to put the vehicles in storage and whatnot up there. And I think it was great from the pictures that I saw. Big lines, a lot of people really enjoyed it. I wish we would have been there because I know our kids would definitely have loved it. But anyways, regardless, it was just a great event, and I really appreciate you guys really utilizing your creativity to create a great environment for our entire community to enjoy. So everybody that was involved, great job to everybody. I also had a meeting earlier in the week with Sergeant Jimenez. Jesus Christ. I'm going to have to call you. I'm in a meeting. I'm going to call you later. Okay? Bye. So we had a meeting, and I really appreciated you taking the time to meet with me to discuss some of the ongoing problems that our community's been having. And some of the items that I was particularly very concerned with is the catalytic converter problems, the break-ins that we've had, vehicles being broken into throughout our community. I know it's not a problem that's just affecting the City of Commerce, but it really was important for me that we have a good plan we put a good plan together to try to address this. We had more recently, some of the cameras that you made reference to, Vice Mayor, earlier, was as a result of 3 vehicles on one street that got hit. 3 catalytic converters were taken in one night. And, we just have to have a better plan to try to address this. We just can't continue to not have a good plan. So I was happy with the discussion we had. I won't go into details as to, the game plan, but I'm feeling comfortable that hopefully we'll soon have some appropriate actions that we can take to try to address some of these ongoing problems here in the community. So again, thank you, Sergeant. Appreciate the meeting. Appreciate the other deputies that were there as well. And as far as the conference in Santa Barbara, Independent Cities Association, in particular of interest to me was the 2 of the sessions that I attended that were of particular interest to me, which was one was It's Possible, and it's Functional Zero Homelessness, and it was moderated by Supervisor Janice Hahn. And as you guys know, she's been a big champion related to homelessness. And the other participants was City Attorney Michael Webb from Redondo Beach, Ronson Chu, South Bay City's Council of Governments, and Police Chief Manny Sid from Glendale. But there was a lot of good discussion amongst everybody that was in attendance. And basically, at the end of the day, what the supervisor is saying is her message is, hey, look, homelessness, we all have to do our part, do a little bit. All of us together doing our share would have a big impact on reducing homelessness and possibly basically taking care of it. And so we all have to have a plan related to that. And I know that our city manager in the future will be having a discussion with each of us related to that. And hopefully we can come up with a plan to move forward. But one of the key things that the supervisor also said is, if you guys have the courage to step up and try to address it, that she would work with us to find appropriate funding depending on the plan that we put together, and she'll work with us to try to address some of that. So it's good to hear that. A lot of times they recommend things that you should do, or they ask you or mandate that you do certain things, but no funding. So then you're left out in the cold trying to figure out, hey, wait a minute, we already have a lot of issues that we're dealing with, and how do we fund that? So it becomes an unfunded mandate, right? But anyways, the other item, which was of more interest to me, was new emerging policing technologies. And that to me was important because of part of the discussion that we've had earlier related to catalytic converters and other problems is this year was the moderator was Councilmember Mark Henderson from Gardena, and also some of the folks on the panel was Jordan Karasik from Paragon Technologies, and Hector Salman Valdez, Flock Safety. And of course, you guys are familiar with the Flock systems that we use here, the cameras that are already deployed in our city that are actually picking up a lot of these stolen vehicles. They read the license plates. And I believe you've seen a lot more activity recently, and it's been as a result of the deployment of those cameras throughout our city, which is a good thing, but they also offer more options, and that was also part of the discussion. And the other individual that was part of the panel was Lieutenant John Lee from Alhambra Police Department. They were a great selection of individuals. They all brought different perspectives to the discussion, and of course some of the questions that were being asked by different members of the different city councils that were present. But the great thing about this is the technology is great, and it's basically the use of cameras to do more in terms of new technologies that are available to us. And the city manager is going to set up a meeting, and we're going to be following up on meeting with some of these individuals and visiting some of the cities that have actually implemented some of these technologies so that we can see how it's working, cost, and all of that. So we can obviously make appropriate decisions with regards to something that we can do to try to get ahead of the game with some of these issues, problems that we're dealing with here in the city. So again, thank you. That concludes my report, and I want to thank you all, and have a good day.
Thank you. Councilwoman Garcia?
Thank you, Mayor. Just like Councilmember Argumedo said, it was a valuable perspective at our seminar at the ICA, featuring insightful discussions of a range of important topics. My focus was on the economic development and the policing technologies. Overall, it was a great, successful seminar, so that's all I have. But a fun fact, Mr. Boyle, I played at Downey. I was the only female water polo player in Downey High School for water polo, so good luck to them. And Sergeant, thank you. I didn't thank you earlier, but thank you for all your hard work. That concludes my reports.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Linus?
Thank you, Mayor. Not much to report, but I was not able to attend Snow Day. It was my son's birthday yesterday, and so there were some things that we had planned over the weekend, but I spoke to several members of the community, and they just loved it. So thank you to all city departments that participated and just helped make that happen, because I think it was a really valuable forum for our community's families to build memories. And my last thing is I just want to wish my son a happy belated birthday. He is now officially a teenager, and I'm just really proud of him. You know, he's growing up to become a well-rounded individual, and I think this city has a lot to do with that. You know, he came up in the Tiny Twos, of course, with Kids Club and the day camps and preschool, and, you know, recreational sports, and now he's participating in the performing arts program. There's just a lot of outlets that this city has provided him to really just stay busy, right, and be constructive and productive. And it's really reflecting on the person that he's becoming. So just really proud of him, and I'm also grateful to the city for making that happen. And it's just a reminder that we all have a responsibility to sustain, to innovate, to create opportunities for our community's families and their youth to really have the same chances that, you know, he had. And I know we have those opportunities, so I think we just need to continue to get at it and, you know, create more, hopefully, and, you know, just let it ride. That's all I have.
All right.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. I won't be redundant. I was in ICA with our colleagues here. Both the Mayor Pro Tem and Councilwoman, you both were missed out there. I know that you had a water polo game with your son committed. It's a lot of work, right, to be there with your kids in swimming and water polo. Happy birthday to your son, Mayor Pro Tem. And you're right. The city provides a lot for these kids. But it also depends on the parents, and you and your wife are great parents, so they're lucky to have you bringing up these good kids in the City of Commerce. So, happy birthday one more time. So at this time, we're going to adjourn in a senior. Her name is Minerva Morales. So meeting is now adjourned.